Hi everyone. In this video, I want to talk about a little bit more about the topic of success and why also success needs sometimes a little bit of deeper thinking from all of us when we are striving towards success in anything we do in our life. And this I found the best example of understanding this I have found from different sports players. And I'm actually being a woman and also being not that sports oriented. I don't always watch sports of different kinds, but tennis has been one sports that I have still followed in my life because my family used to love watching tennis together as a family when we were young. And because of that, I still watch tennis occasionally, very randomly, because I'm not an ardent sports fan, and because of which I don't watch it too deeply. Like every year, I won't watch a particular player or a particular match or a particular series of Grand Slam tournaments. That's not what I do. But occasionally and randomly, I do watch tennis here and there. And this clip of Novak came up in my feed recently, which completely fits the thing related to success that I was talking about in my previous video. And that's why I thought I should discuss this video. It's a very sweet clip where he has won some tournament. I don't know which tournament's clip this is, because as I said, I haven't watched all tournaments or all tennis matches. But for me, because I am talking about the topic of success as well as other topics related to health, this is a very good topic related to health that is present in this very short clip. Wherein, because the match likely went on for a long time, and then after a match, there are usually a couple of additional time is taken to give the award to the participant if it is the finals match. So at that time, this match ended up being a long match and ceremony. And when he was giving his winning speech, he was a little shocked to see that his kids were still awake even though it was past midnight. And he said that in this video. And his kids also, because they were put into focus, they were also very cute, being a little possibly shy. They wanted to divert attention from themselves in a cute way. So both of them started hinting to their dad, wrap it up so that we can go home, which is something they were also possibly very cutely thinking or being told by their parents or other people who were from his family who might have been there in the match with him, right? But this clip is exactly what I believe crystallizes the essence of why a little bit of deeper thinking is needed about success by different people in any field they want to pursue. This is only tennis related clip that we saw, but it is not just tennis related clip. It is the consequence of what happens to a tennis player's family, which is also similar to the consequence that happens to not just any tennis player and top level tennis player's family, but is also a similar consequence that befalls the family of anyone who's at the top of their game in any field they pursue. Because when parents are busy, pursuing a career goal, pursuing a professional goal, having set some every 5 year 10-year plan related to their professional goal, everyone is so deeply enmeshed in their profession, and this is something meant into do a little bit more than women. But in the modern world, women who are career oriented, they also tend to pursue these kind of goals about constantly seeking a professional high and professional win. And obviously winning is a very key and core element of games like tennis. If you don't win, you are not going to get awards, rewards, money, sponsorship, importance in life. So definitely your whole entire career and earnings are dependent on your continuing to be in the limelight for a while, and not just be in the limelight but continuing to win for a while. So I understand that winning money, getting the awards is a very crucial thing and aspect of any sports related activity. Or there are some other profession also where like tennis, those professions need people to be on in relevance regarding the profession they are pursuing, and in order to get the credits and accolades, if they get the credits and accolades, they will also accumulate more money, more potential to gain earnings when they are winning in whatever they are doing. It's true of any profession currently on earth, and that is what most people seem to pursue about their professional success when they are pursuing something in life. It's also true a little bit about our personal life, but I'll talk about personal life related pursual of success in a different video, because that's a behavioral and social health related paradigm that needs to shift a little bit in this century, for various reasons, which also I have discussed already and will continue discussing based on the topic I am discussing in a video. But here, why is it important for this clip to show us why people need to rethink their success strategy? Is because, firstly, I don't know if any one of you have watched Novak, but I have watched a couple of his games in the past, where in one of the games I think he didn't win and he was very upset. And then in the Paris Open, when he was playing in the Paris Games and he won the Paris Olympics, before he was winning the Olympics, I was watching that game with the uncle, my dad's friend, who is a very much of a tennis fan. And when we were watching the game, I felt the game was a little bit rigged. There were certain things that were done in the game in order to ensure that the opposite person would win the game more, or to skew the game towards favoring the opposite person. And I'm sure even Novak felt that. And not only did he feel that the game was skewed against him, but he was also going through some tennis injury, I believe, and both of which made his winning that game a little bit more challenges and obstacles filled. And then when he finally won that match, you could see how happy he was. And he also, I think from that game, I understood that he believes in God, because he gave thanks to God in a very subtle manner when he won that game. But he gave the thanks which showed that he does believe in fairness and he does believe in doing the right things in life. And then after watching that video and then watching this video where he is, and prior to watching that video when he was losing or he has lost in some other games, at that time he has also felt frustrated that even though he's such a good player, why isn't he winning certain games? And if not him, there are many other tennis players who are also his compatriots. Some of them also tend to question that even though I'm so good at it, or I have such a good mindset, or I practice so much, then also why don't I win? There are many tennis players who are possibly in the top 10 or even in the top 100 in the world, but even then they will question this about themselves, simply because they are not the top one for a while, or they have been in the top for a while, but then after a while they lose their top one standing. So whatever is their each player's career trajectory, each of them definitely does question the universe that why don't I always win? Why am I not that good enough to win all these? Or many people also do things like secret like manifestations or positive thinking like things related to their life. And it's not just simply true about sports, but this is true about anything we want to win in life, be it a exam we want to clear in life, be it a medal we want to get for the work we are doing, be it a social or professional credit we want to get for the work we are doing, wherever we are doing something meaningful to us, and something which if we win we will enjoy winning it, right? So there are multiple people, all of us, majority of us on earth are that kind of personality who want to see some wins in our life, because having those wins sometimes can validate us that what we are doing is meaningful. Sometimes it is meaningful to us because we might be doing many right things in the world. And when the Paris Open was happening, I felt intuitively that many wrong things were going on there, which shouldn't be allowed, and which is something a topic for discussion about match fixing related stuff. But other than that, there's also a thing of element of something called fairness in life, that we should have fairness in life. Otherwise, if when fairness is gone, life becomes even more challenging than it should be. It's not that people don't have challenges already in their life, and Novak was already facing a challenge at that point of time because of his health injury. So already he had an injury. He could have made a call to not play that game, but because this was going to be Olympics doesn't come every year, so he can't play in the Olympics. Possibly the next time the opportunity will come, he may not be eligible for it, qualified for it. Many other things can happen in the future, so that's why he pushed himself to play the games. But while pushing himself, and many sports players do it, many of us do it, who are really dedicated to something that we like to pursue, or we are very fixated on a goal of winning something. Many people can push themselves to the maximum of their potential, as well as sometimes overextend themselves when something health related or something else is going on in their life, where where at that point of time you should focus more on the health or something else going on in their life. But many people do not tend to focus on the something else, because we get so short sighted about this vision that we have, or the manifestation that we have done, or the prayer that we have sent to God or universe, that I want to win this, I want to get this, or I have practiced for this for so many years, so I must have this. These are all the winning kind of thoughts we have in our brains, right? And I am also a somewhat competitive person about certain elements of my life. And at those times, that's why only I understand this mindset, because I have also walked that path occasionally, not always. Because if you have watched my previous video, you will see I'm also very relaxed about when I don't win, because I'm not always competitive. Sometimes I'm competitive, sometimes I'm not, and sometimes circumstances only will be such that, because I'm a very flexibility oriented person or adaptability related person, for me, rather than winning, that flexibility and adaptability is a part of the picture. Winning should matter, but winning shouldn't matter at a cost of certain other things in life, which is what I want to focus with this video of Novak and his children. Because this win that he had, and I don't know if this was the Paris wins end ceremony, or if this was some other win that he had and the ending ceremony of that other Grand Slams that he might have won. That context I don't have, because with the Paris game, after the game was done, the uncle left. I was not feeling well, so we didn't watch the rest of the match, and I had only watched briefly the match, and not even watched the whole tennis match in the Paris games. But after and I don't, as I said, don't always watch so much tennis or any other game. In fact, tennis is the only game I have watched in the last 10-20 years, or since childhood, more often than any other sports. So but what I'm saying is, when we have this winning attitude and wanting to win attitude and praying to the universe and God for winning, people don't realize it, that if you everyone starts praying for wins, what is going to happen? Can God allow everyone wins? Yes, he can allow everyone wins, but will people have to take their turns for their wins, right? So is it, that's why possible that someone will win for a few years, and then because God has to also allow other people who are also deserving of win, they also need some wins. That's why God will shift and rotate and allow someone else also to win occasionally, right? Or continuously, or in a rotational basis. Or in some players case, some players will be very good at hard courts, others will be very good at playing in the clay court, some will be very good at playing in the grass courts, right? So different players will have different type of arena in which they will be masters and really good at pursuing the sport in that kind of sports related area, right? But is winning the only thing in life? Are tennis players only supposed to win in life, or understand that after playing tennis I have earned certain money, have earned certain rewards? Is that the only goal of a tennis player? If that was the only goal of a tennis player, why does Novak have family? Why does he have fans? Why does he also have potentially some other hobbies and interests in life? Why has God made you the particular way that you are? Those are also parts and aspects of your personality and reason for existence, outside of the money you earn and outside of the awards you accrue or target towards achieving. But this is the aspect of life many of us forget, many of us don't want to focus on. Many of us think that this is a wasteful effort to focus on it. And some of us also, when we don't focus on all this and then we end up losing, they want to sit and cry, why did I lose? Or they want to, if not cry, because if you're a sports person, you're probably not going to be very, not very often, all the really hardcore sportsmen type people are not emotionally that vulnerable. Very few people are emotionally really in touch with balancing their emotions with their logic, which is also a core skill many humans need to develop in the next century. But how will those humans develop this core skill of having both the logical thinking as well as other non-logical thinking, like the thinking that is intuition based, or thinking that is emotional intelligence based, thinking that is empathy based, choices in life that are not just logic and wins based but also overall big picture based choices. How can we go to a world like that, even if it is supposed to be the next century's purpose for many of us? Can we go towards there if we don't realize why we have to go there? What is the reason why going there is important? What is the reason why we may not continue to just pursue winning in life? What is the reason why letting go of winning is also a important core skill? What is the reason why genuinely from the heart allowing another person to win, or genuinely from the heart encouraging another person to win, genuinely from the heart enabling another person to win, these are also very core life skills. Why is it important? Because we need a generation that continues to be in balance and alignment with healthy earthly existence. And a healthy earthly existence doesn't happen if everyone on earth is just focused on wins and achievements and money and a lot of professional credit and contracts and whatever the tennis sport is associated with tennis, I can say, because that's the sport I have watched a little bit more often than others. But it is also true of many other sports, many other fields of work where awards, rewards, achievements, accolades are important in that field of work. And there was this Japanese player, I'm forgetting her name, but the female player who had quit playing, like for she had some kind of tiff with the people who were organizing a match. She was very exhausted, she was very, I think she was also going through a little bit of a depression phase in life as well, because she is also, the reason why that was happening to her is because of these 17 minutes that I have discussed here, as well as the things I have discussed in my previous video. And she was actually going through, I'm just forgetting her name, I will reference her or a video of hers in another post. But because she was so depressed, because she was so going through a burnout, she was also going through a physical burnout stage, a burnout stage that happens to us when we are misaligned with our life purpose. Even if you're very great at something, she was really good at the top and in the top of her profession. She was also winning many games, but despite winning many games, and she had signed a contract that after winning a game, she has to stay up for signing and talking to the fans, and other obligations were associated with her win. And that day, because she had possibly burnout, what is burnout? Burnout is when that happens to anyone in the professional arena, happens to those of us when we are deeply unsupported in our personal life, we don't have good personal life connections, as well as in our professional life when we are getting pushed to our maximum in such a way that if we ever fall, there is no one there to catch us, to help us heal, to help us recover, to support us, to give us a simple thing as a hug, to give us a simple thing as rest for the exhaustion we are feeling. That is what burnout is. And that burnout does tend to happen more to women, especially those women who do not have very supportive family or social structure, who are going through a major crisis about their professional life as well as personal life. I have gone through that burnout phase. That's why I understood that tennis players burnout phase. And it's not that she's not great at playing tennis. And it's also not that she doesn't love playing tennis. It's also not that she was not grateful for her fans. It's also not that she wants to be irresponsible about the contract she has signed with a particular gaming committee, that whatever hours of public appearance she has to give. But when you go through burnout, you are so overexhausted. Just one extra inch of energy you do not have to do that extra fake smiling, because when you are smiling in front of the fans, like, you can be sad in front of the fans also, or you can be authentic like Novak is, like wondering why his kids are still awake. You can do all these authentic expression of your personality, but that authentic expression of your personality, if it is not allowed, and for women the burnout happens more in the professional front, because women are not allowed to express their authentic emotions. She was authentically feeling tired, and she has a right to say that I am exhausted. And while for the men, it might be men can still push themselves for 5-10 hours to do something which a woman can't push sometimes, because women also need certain conditions of health, supportive factors in their life, in order for them to push themselves in the outside world to do the same extent of outside world things that men are able to do easily, because of just anthropological reasons and biological reasons. Women's body is structured to understand health harm sooner, is structured, women's body, women's intuition, women's nature, and also women's anthropological part in human history has given most women the capacity to understand when health harm in the outside surroundings is higher. And that's why only women used to spend more time indoors and doing more indoor activities. And it's not wrong that women can do outdoor activities, but outdoor life has to be become as safe as indoor life, as secure as indoor life, for a woman to now energetically and biologically and physically do the same things as men in the outside world. And this is a core difference people don't realize, which is why you will also see those women who pursue a lot of their career goals, they either become either burnt out and exhausted, or they will manifest some diseases because of their work conditions which are not enhancing a woman's health, or they will face hostile work environment related challenges, or they might become burnout related phases might happen. Or those who can definitely go at par with men are going to be very masculine energy oriented women. Like while this Japanese player was getting very tired, the one, and she's part Japanese, I believe, the a player like Serena Williams, who's very much masculine energy oriented, she doesn't get tired in the male setting, because she is very masculine energy oriented, and her level of masculine energy and drive is very similar to a man's, because of which Serena Williams has, that's why, been able to play tennis for such a long time without being burnt out about it, because her DNA structure, her biology, her personal nature got shaped in such a way. She was possibly from those kind of family circumstances where she had to toughen up, and because she had to toughen up, she ended up toughening up herself up to the same level as a masculine energy holding man. And that's why she can do these long hours of signing and touring and everything. But here's where now people who are doing, like the fight she had, though not many people supported the Japanese tennis player, people should support her. Firstly, people should support her because you have to understand the difference between men and women. Not every women player is going to be like Serena Williams. There are actually many more women players who are going to be more like this Japanese player. And though people didn't support her, that support is necessary in the future of tennis, not just for Serena Williams or this Japanese player, but also for people like Novak, who wants to give and devote time to his family as well. And that's why that clip is very important. He's a very family oriented man, he's a very God oriented man. Because he's a God oriented and family oriented man, he likely also, like those people who are very family oriented, God oriented, they all have a higher purpose than simply winning in life. Winning is only one aspect of life. We all, whoever wants to win, has come to pursue as part of their life experience and life journey on earth. But there are many people who have not come to just win a accolade level win. They've come to do some meaningful work. And a win related to meaningful work sometimes also means you will not get accolades, you will also get sometimes really opposite of accolades also will happen. And that's why only the opposite of accolades happened to the female player who got so burnt out, so tired, was so depressed. Because if you're going through depression and burn, if you're energetically burnt out, after giving she pushed herself to win the game, but after winning the game, because she has pushed herself to her maximum potential, she could have been nutritionally challenged, she could have been water challenged, she could have been dehydrated. Because dehydration, nutritional challenges also adds to your depression, also adds to your crankiness. Women need much more health supportive conditions in any environment to be really good and skillful at the work that they do. But that kind of skillfulness that women can produce in a particular field of work, they are not able to produce sometimes when the field of work they are doing is highly polluted. Environment pollution is there, behavioral pollution is there. Because if you are a female tennis player also, you're sexualized also. When you are sexualized also, and that's why also you will see those tennis players who were highly sexualized, they didn't play tennis for a long time. After a while they got tired of that sexualization. If they have good marriages, they have gone into married life, because they didn't want to pay that price of fame. That in order to pay the price of fame, in order to pay the price of winning and popularity, they were getting sexualized, they were getting sexual energy thrown at them that they don't need. And women are very very intuitive about, most women, those who are more feminine oriented, women and men, whoever is more feminine oriented can pick up intuitively the energy of people around them without people even speaking anything to them. So you can pick up if someone is a pervert towards you, you can pick up if you are being sexualized, you can pick up if someone is overtly being something beyond what a normal fan will be with you. And at those time points also, if that tennis player had picked all of these signals up, that will also add to her burnout, because she had already pushed herself in the game, she's already energetically depleted or exhausted, she already possibly doesn't have any good supporting system who can, like, when she is depleted, if she had some good support system, they would have calmed her down, they would have given her some drinks, they would have given her some care that would have helped her calm down and rest, and then finish the rest of the tennis related obligation that she had to do for the game. But because she didn't have those supportive people, there could also be, like, some women need also bodyguards also to help them with the sexual perversion related problems. Not just bodyguards, but managers who can handle this kind of perverted problems as well. So all of these things, if you are not having that support, men can defend themselves. Especially if you're masculine energy man, you can defend yourself. A masculine energy women can also defend themselves. But if you are more of a feminine energy or of a balanced masculine feminine energy, those people do need some extra supportive characteristics and people in their life. Because that is also another part of our earthly existence. Our earthly existence is not to be a unit of one on earth, that I become a functional unit of one where I do all masculine and feminine activity by myself and I can do everything by myself, I don't need anyone. Many people do exist with that kind of a mentality and mindset, especially in sports or very highly competitive areas of work. People do tend to behave like that. But the reality is, how much ever you behave like that or think like that, the reality is you cannot win in something that you're winning at if many other people don't support you towards gaining that win. Many other people don't continue supporting you after you have won and you have other obligations related to the win. Many other people do not just support you, are not providing you what is necessary for you to feel balanced, to feel aligned, to be balanced and aligned. Because we have come only on a earth with so many billions of population to have that collaborative existence, cohesive existence, mixed and interchange of good, beautiful energy exchange related interactions with different people in our life. But that good, beautiful energy exchange can't happen if you are having horny thoughts about a particular female player. Then you are just being a very lusty or very disgusting fan, or a very Monica Seles, one of her fans or someone who pretended to be her fan had ended up stabbing her, right? So these kind of things also can happen to a women player. And Monica Seles was also, if you look at her, life history, she was also someone who was not supported by many people in her life. That's why only if when she was playing also people didn't understand this about her. Even just playing, there was not even a tennis racket created for a short height. She was a little shorter height than normal height women. So whenever she used to yield her tennis racket, she used to make this sound, right? Why was she making that sound? Not because she wanted to be pervy or anything, but because for her the energy and strength she had to push to just even handle a racket. And I have tried to play tennis once or twice, and I just can't lift up. I have such bad muscle strength, I can't lift up a tennis racket at all. Or when I tried to play, pushing that racket was so difficult, I gave up easily. And I'm also, if you have looked in my previous videos, people might think I'm a quitter, which is true. I quit things that I do not want to compete in, or I think I don't have the current capacity to do that. I will not do those things, because saying that is also a key core important life lesson. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses enough to know what you should say yes to, and also to know what you should say no to. So if I don't eat enough muscular supporting food, I can't lift up a racket, and then I can't mentally create a space to go and learn a new skill when I don't even have the first basic steps of good food that will give me good arm strength, that will then give me the enough capacity to even think about learning a sport that I could play at least at a modest level, right? So that is why I never learned tennis. Whereas there are many people in my family, support, ancillary family, direct family, who did get enough nutrition, enough food, enough energy. They did have that, possess that level of energy to learn tennis, to compete in tennis for a while, to play tennis at a local level for a while. All of those kind of people also, I know a few of them, right? From personal life to just casual knowing some people. But here now, while the burnout is now going on with someone who has pushed themselves to their limit at any work, here it is sports related topic I'm telling, but this can be true of a student who has just cleared their 10th exam, just cleared their 12th grade exam, now working for a entrance exam for some engineering field or high school level thing or a university level thing. Whatever else is your next life goal you want to win at that time, if you've already given your maximum potential at one exam, and your family expects you to study 3-4 exams, but all your maximum potential you already devoted to one, whatever potential you have now, you can only give to one more exam possibly, but your family expects you to give 3 exams. Think about it. Do you really want that pressure of 3 exams? Can you either give all those 3 exams with the mindset that whichever exam I can give the maximum potential and devote the maximum energy to, let me give that exam, and the rest, if I don't give the maximum energy to it, I should allow myself the break to not over exhaust myself for those other exams. I should give myself the break to not take the stress that if I fail that exam, that I am a failure in life. You should not ever say that to yourself, because whatever you fail at is something maybe you were supposed to fail at. Who has said, has anyone told me that I have to succeed in tennis? So why do I have to learn tennis just because someone in my family learned it, some cousins in my family learned it, I know a friend who is really successful at it, so because I know 4-5 different people who are really good at it, does it mean I have to learn tennis? I enjoy watching tennis as a sport, does it mean I must learn it? No, right? I can only watch it at a watcher level rather than at a doer level, because that's something I'm not physically equipped to do. And Monica Seles, when she was also a short person like me, I mentioned her because she there are no tennis rackets created for frailer women, shorter women, thinner women, women who don't have enough nutritional, who have led lives for centuries or decades where they have not, their family history only has had this pattern where they have not had access to good food. Because they have not had access to good food, they don't have the normal strong robust build of a tennis player from certain categories. That's why you will also see, this is something I realized recently, that why do you think people who do not have now access to these tall muscular players in their country, some of those countries, they have become very good. Instead of playing tennis, they also love playing some sports, They have become really good at lightweight sports where heavy rackets are not used. So they're good at table tennis or badminton as well. Why? Because for those countries population set, because you do not have nutritional health wise that kind of food that will support a good tennis player's lifestyle. It's better for those kind of people. If you have come from those kind of family settings where your family setting lifestyle doesn't support good robust health that is needed for that sports, you go towards a sports where what is your body's setting, what is your nutritional setting, what is your capacity setting, attuning you towards play. Okay, so that's why people from Asia, you will see many Asians are nowadays coming up also, and for many centuries only they have come up. Many Asian countries are really good at, that's why, table tennis and badminton versus tennis, because tennis needs the kind of luxurious eating lifestyle and luxurious playing lifestyle, as well as muscular strength and some other things that other sports don't need. They need fastness and agility and quick thinking. All of or the light work that is needed for the other sports are more comfortable for those people to learn, more easier for them to learn, more aided by their country's circumstances for them to learn. I hope this made sense. This is also this is becoming a sports health related post apparently, because I feel like talking about some other Indian sports as well. But though I feel like talking, it will digress me from this main topic of family health and social health. So I'll talk about sports health maybe in another video, because I can talk about sports related other stuff also, which is completely and directly related to different elements of health. So those people who don't win, be it at a sports, be it in a personal life goal of achieving something in their work, understand that there is always a higher purpose to why you will not win. For example, in the Paris Open, I don't know how much this discussion has happened regarding game related manipulations that were going on in the back in the Olympics. If it comes out in the Open, well and good. If it doesn't even come out, many Olympic related things I heard in the news or watched about myself in the TV led me to believe there was match fixing going on, and which skews the sportsmanship related aspects of the sports. But that is also important thing, like, should winning in for everyone to introspect about that, should winning in life be about just winning at all costs? And the answer is actually no. Most of us, that uncle with whom I watched this Paris finals, he was so very upset. I could see clue after clue after clue that the game was fixed. And even though I could see clue after clue after clue that the game was fixed, that uncle was not ready to believe that the game was fixed. Why? For him, tennis is a sacred sport. He loves to play tennis, he loves to watch tennis, he does both. And for him, it was a very heartbreaking experience to acknowledge that match fixing could have occurred in a sport like tennis as well. But if it has occurred, and to me, the evidence of it is very crystal clear. But to others, because I was looking at it from a health perspective, I'm also a very operationally minded person. So operation functionality based perspective also, I could see how operationally they were trying to mess with certain things that would skewer the thing to help the opposite player. And luckily it still helped, luckily despite the advantages given to the other player, because Novak was a better quality player and because he had the drive to win that day, he did end up winning that day. But he could very well have lost, and if he had lost, there would have been a higher purpose to his loss. And when he won, there was obviously a higher purpose to his win as well. Likewise, if any of his subsequent games, if he doesn't win, there's also a higher purpose tied only to his not winning. One of which could be the very simple thing that he, being a family man, he may want to think about focusing more time with what he and his wife can do as a couple to raise good kids. They are already raising very cute and smart kids, but what if he needs to focus a little bit more in his family life than in his work life? What if the money he has earned so far is going to be sufficient for him and his family for a while? So for a while, what if he has got a sports injury, he's meant to take rest, give his body the right rest, so that he can recover from the injury that he is going through, not stress his body and injure his future perspectives related to the sports that he's playing. So what if he's meant to take 1 or 2 years of rest, or a few years of rest? What if he's meant to shift his life direction into doing something else related to sports than what he has already pursued in sports? These are all things that can open up for him if he takes the time to rest, if he takes the time to understand why that rest was needed by him. What if he is also, while he didn't support the female player, or I'm not saying he personally didn't support, but I felt in the media many people didn't support, neither were people supporting Monica Seles. People used to find it very irritating, why is she making this stupid noise when she plays tennis? So that's why Monica Seles had a lot of haters also for her. That's the reason why when she had a lot of haters, when she was stabbed and some other kind of tennis related, some news article I had read from a long time back, and in that I think people were not supporting her in some way in which she deserved some support. But even though she deserved support and many people didn't support her, and she eventually, I think, ended up quitting that sport, the thing that people need to learn from Monica Seles is, anyone who's shorter in height like her, Monica Seles could have had breathing distress related issues as well as physical stress related issues from handling a racket that is larger in size for her, both of which meant the energy she could exert while handling really tough shots for her was to give that urge, because then what is happening is a little bit of extra adrenaline push she was getting, and that extra adrenaline push was helping her in making those shots, which being that she is a particular height and structure, and the bat was a particular structure not ready to be wielded by a person of her height. Like, those bats were made for, like, tennis rackets, not bats, sorry, but tennis rackets are mostly made for people with 6-inch height or near 6-inch height. And you will see also those players who are near 6 inch of height, like 5 feet 10 or even above 6 feet, they don't make all these weird noises. But some men players also sometimes will make these noises, and those men players who are 6 feet who do make such kind of noises, they just do it as a distraction mechanism. And that's why people used to get annoyed with Monica, thinking that she's doing it as a distraction thing, when the reality was it was the only way she can cope up playing in that sports for the long time that she did cope up playing. And then why did the stabbing also happen to her? For her also, that stabbing, even though it was a very bad thing that happened to her, it was a necessary thing for her to quit a sports where she was not supported, where many people didn't like her, where I was actually a Monica Seles fan when I was young. So but I could see also, I'm also not a very blind fan of anyone. So because I'm not a blind fan, I could see when people are not supporting her, people are not on her team, and that she doesn't have a good team to support her. She couldn't have been stabbed if people were doing their due diligence work simply at a sports arena level also, of giving some security to sports players. But as a result of her incidents, while she quit, while she didn't get support, what she faced, I'm sure, made sports a little bit more secure for women after that. But does it mean that security of women is absolute in sports? No, because when men are usually making the decision making of a sports related rulings or business proposals, or any other timing related scheduling of sporting related activities, all of them men tend to do based on their mindset. They don't do it with the family mindset on hand, they don't do it with the mindset of overarching goals related to the sports at hand, which is something, even if people haven't done it in so many years and decades of tennis history, doesn't mean that you can't change that about tennis and sports right now in this century of human existence. And because of which only the Japanese player got really tired and exhausted and had to draw a line and say no. And if she doesn't say no, what is going to be the consequence for her would have been that either that day something bad could have happened, like what happened to Monica Seles, or on that day, if something bad at that extent that what happened to Monica Seles didn't happen, she might have fallen down out of exhaustion. But if she is a player who is unsupported in her family life, which is a highly likely case, I have zero personal knowledge about this player. I have only that's why I don't even remember her name. I've only seen one time after reading this news article. I have gone and seen her Instagram page one time briefly, but I've not seen. I'm not a ardent fan, and I've not seen her play also on the sports arena at all. Any of her games, neither have I seen. Yet I'm advocating for her because I understand what burnout does to someone. I also understand what unsupported women feel like when they have multiple levels of lack of support in their life. So at that time, if they fall and out of exhaustion, are the contract makers going to give her IV drip, pay for her hospital bills if she gets hospitalized? No, they wouldn't have done it. That's why it was safer for her to walk away. And after that, if they are asking her to pay her some money back, she should appeal it based on these circumstances, that if she was indeed exhausted, if she was at the burnout level, if later on also, even now, if she goes and gets herself diagnosed, what if she was developing cancer in her body, and those long hours would have made her feel even more exhausted? Because I not only was suffering from burnout, I was suffering from organ damage also. I was also suffering from other illnesses, which slowly those illnesses take time to develop in the body. That's why the cancer took 10 years to develop. Organ damage took another 10 years for it to show very deeper proof of organ damage. Some other illnesses also I want to talk about, I haven't yet discussed, because I'm waiting for the right evidence to come out about it first. Because I know the evidence exists, I have the evidence in front of me. Many things related to that disease is existing currently in the city where I'm living. But if people in that city do not admit it, acknowledge it, work towards wanting to fix it, I don't want to talk about it. Or even if I do talk about it, people will think I'm just speculating rather than believing. All people already in my personal life don't believe the already existing data about health. So how will you make someone believe something that is existing but yet not out in the open? The things that are already out in the open, the things that have been out in the open about human existences, diseases for centuries or decades, that thing only many people are not awakening to understanding. So the things that are still in a covert phase or hidden phase, how will you explain the repercussions of such things? It's difficult to explain. I can explain it because I have been given the capacity, the knowledge, the education to explain it. But in order for it to be believed, the simply explanation or the knowledge or the evidence is not enough people have to now talk about that evidence, then only it becomes enough, right? So that's why also this lady, when she has protested, she had to protest for personal health reasons. Same way, other players who are family oriented can also protest about worker conditions of their sports, especially when they're in the top of the game. No one is telling you to protest when you're at the bottom of the barrel. At that time, if you protest, people will just say you don't want to win. People will just give you nonsense, hard time, even if you are telling the right thing, because you're not at the top. But if you have reached at the top, and after you have reached at the top and stayed at the top for a while, it is time for you to create better work conditions for yourself. That is also one purpose of being at the top. When you are at the top, you should be demanding change related to what will support the better lifestyle of everyone associated with the sport, what will support the better health of everyone, what will be more health aligning. And every sports player's better health is indeed dependent on their support system of their life. So if you will look at any top player also in tennis, you will see each of the top players had a lot of supportive people in their family, in their team who are supporting them, in the group of people who have encouraged them to build the sportsmanship abilities that they have developed over the time of their playing that sports. They have a lot of support system. Very few rare players will not have that support system, and those players are only going to be like the Japanese player or Monica Seles, who didn't have good support system. They won for a while, but then they had to quit because now they are exhausted. They don't have a support system. If they don't get the right support system, for them to continue further will lead to more health damage, more worsening of health conditions. So for Monica Seles, even though I don't know if she ever contemplated on the accident that happened to her or the stabbing that happened to her, she should realize she did come back also after taking a few years rest. She was a good, not a quitter also. So people who quit when you are harmed, you should quit, or when you are reaching harm potential, then also you should quit. So both Monica Seles quit when she was literally physically harmed, and this Japanese player quit when she was nearing harm. So before she can completely collapse, she quit. Okay, but in both of these cases, why were the women quitting or ready to quit is because they do have more better instincts than men. So they do know many feminine energy. If you are in balanced feminine energy, your feminine energy will tell you what to quit or how to quit it, and your masculine energy will tell you when to come back if you have the potential to come back. So Monica Seles did come back also for a while to play again tennis for a while, professional tennis, but then she saw that it was worsening her injuries, so she stopped playing. But that also, her stopping playing might have had a higher purpose. I don't know what happened to her. People should interview her to figure out what happened in her life after she quit tennis, because that story is also an important story for many girls to learn, for many people who want to play professionally or do something professionally and meaningfully in their life, for them to learn that uh, what is wrong or what is right with also saying no after certain circumstances happened in your life, where you should say no and when you should say yes. All of these are also core life skills you need to develop, which only leads to, I'm sure she's doing well in some other parts of her life, and if she is not doing well, there will also be a lot of lack of support related reasons that would be playing a role in her life. And then similarly with this player who quit, it's not that the makers or like the people who had organized her, meeting with the media and things like that, what is big deal about rescheduling it a day later or 1 week later? If a player had actually already got completely exhausted and dehydrated and fallen on the court, you would have taken them to the hospital. You would have paid for them, maybe you would have made the player only pay for the cost of their hospitalization, but would you have rescheduled that day's 1 hour appearance to the media, 1 hour winning trophy related media blitz and other advertising related blitz that you have to do? So can't you, those courts where these games are played, where these grand slams are played, those courts are rest of the year free, only no local people go and play in those courts. So can't you arrange another day when you could have had the same event? What's the big deal? You could have arranged it another day, you could have been flexible, but why aren't you flexible? Because you become too fixated on your mindset that this must happen, this has to happen, when in reality in life nothing has to happen or must happen. For every one of us, anything related to anything we do, it must happen, has to happen, it can't be delayed, is not actually a realistic expectation out of any human. You are here on earth to be more adaptable than must have, must do kind of a person. Those must have, must do kind of people then end up becoming abusers of people. They can become abuser of one person, can become abuser of multiple people. Not just abuser, they can create a very oppressive work condition, life condition for people, where slowly if they continue with that must mindset about certain things, where must is not necessary, where it's not about sportsmanship, it is not about work ethics, but it is more about ego, then all it does is you support and create a system that will devalue whatever was about ego, and it will eventually get devalued. Eventually there will be, the current generation population, you will also see many people have come with those genes or with that attitude. If you have too much, over focused, over stressed out, over work minded, over achievement minded parents in your life, you will see those children also will go in a very opposite direction than their parents, because they want a relaxed lifestyle. They've already picked up the stress of their parents for so long that for them, that is also, this girl, I think, who was a Japanese player, might have had competitive parents in her past. That's also possibly another reason why she had burnout. I'll have to look at her history and I'll put something in the description sections clarification about her, because or maybe I'll discuss about more about her in another video as well. I don't know yet. But main thing about sports or any other thing in life is that thing, learning the sports, winning at the sports, being at the top of the game in some sports or work that you do is all well and good for a while. But if you are here on earth to learn deeper lessons, to do more meaningful work, to do work that is supposed to be done by you because you have been given a certain set of family circumstances, life circumstances, to do that work, then at that point of time, winning is something that may have to take a back seat as well for certain people. And this video is for those people who are now ready to understand this lesson, why saying no is important, why saying no to wins is important, why sometimes even if you have won in the next phase of life, it might be okay for you to not win for a while. Why for some people, even after you have won or not won, realizing something deeper out of whatever you pursued is more important than simply the thing that you achieve. Because they say life is about a journey, and it is in that journey and how you handle the journey that actually better life skills related lessons are present than in the journey where in the end you won. Like all of us are on the same life journey of beginning of life to end of life, but then do all of us enjoy our life, or do all of us only focus on enjoyment in life? If you have only had a life filled with enjoyment, like someone like Hefner, you will see he had a very sorry life. While many men aspire towards a Hugh Hefner type of life, in reality he had a very sorry life. How much ever money he had, women he had, everything that men aspire towards he actually had a very worse life possible in on earth. If you don't want to be a Hugh Hefner like personality, then do you have to pursue things opposite of what he pursues, or do you have to pursue everything that he has pursued? Think about it. So what do you want in life? What do you value in life? If you value everything that he is valuing, go ahead, pursue it. But if there are elements of his life that you don't value, and you don't want to, not only you don't value, but you're a family oriented person and you want to teach it to your kids, or you're a family oriented person in a way where you never had family, but now you still want to teach the next, you're a teaching oriented person and you want to teach the next generation. So at that time also, do you have to learn the lessons of what is it about things related to Hugh Hefner's life that I do not want the next generation to learn or value, because I see the lack of value or depth or lack of wasted life potential, the wasted life that I saw in him. If I don't want a wasted life for another human being, what do I now need to learn from his life as well as my life, as well as teach the next generation so that they can make the better choice related to their life? Because yes, life is about free will choice, but free will choice also can't come to someone's plate if in that free will choice you're constantly just serving them all nonsense things of life and you're not serving the next generation the balanced things of life that you need to serve them. And after that, if they make a free will choice of self-sabotaging their life or doing similar things as Hugh Hefner, you can't do anything. But at least if you even don't even provide them the balanced set of conditions that is necessary for them to make the right free will choice, or a balanced free will choice, or a health supportive free will choice, are you ever going to be able to create a next generation, next family life, next century of earthly existence which will be better than the past? Or is it going to continue being as bad as the past or worse than the past, given the fact that right now many other things are also going wrong on earthly existence? So I hope this made sense. And that's why only always pursuing wins are not important. Just pursuing wins are not important, especially for those people who after having won, if you are at the top of your profession, if you look at Oprah also, she got guided to do this. She was constantly winning a lot in business and in a lot of her business ventures, and then she was guided to let go of the pursuit of money. So she let go of it for a while. Why was she guided to do that? Is because if she just, again, for her also the main lesson was this: not to constantly just pursue something, achieving something, constantly be on the hamster wheel of achievement. You also need resting time. If you take the resting time, if you truly use the resting time in the right way, in a balanced way, you align yourself back to your life purpose related to your existence on this century of earthly existence. And every one of us has a particular life purpose related to us existing currently on earth in this century. But that life purpose will not click for us, will not happen for us until we take the time to rest, until we take the time to say no to those things that are misaligned for us, until we take the time to understand that while it is great for me to continue seeking winning and achievements and other things in life, when I don't seek the achievement, what is the benefit to that as well? So I hope this was helpful to you. And when you are giving your exams or wanting to pursue a win in life, think and reflect about this. Is that win really that necessary for you at the point of existence of your life when you feel that win is important? Because it may be possible that that win could happen another 5 years later, and your sole purpose could be for in those 5 years to do something else. It could also be that while you won at it today, it is also possible for the next 5 years you may want to let go of winning completely to focus on something else instead. So all of these things, different things will unfold for each of us based on our life goal, our life purpose, as well as our own core inner nature. But the more you align with your core inner nature, the more you will be better able to support yourself, and not just yourself. If other people are related to you, support other people related to you towards making the better health aligned, life aligned, and this century's earthly existence aligned choices, which is where the female tennis player from Japan, or partly from Japanese heritage, she was able to do that in her life, because that is the one core key step those men and women who are absolutely unsupported or very barely supported have to take. They are the first people who have to take the steps to say no. Everyone else has a luxury to say no a little later, but one who is less supported has to say no sooner than later. That's why Monica Seles also had to say, even though she came back, if she was in a very ego driven mode or in a very masculine energy mode, she would have wanted to come after comeback continue playing, like I just want to play and win. She could have done that. I want to retain my top 1 status, or whatever was her tennis status at that time, that's ranking I want to maintain. She could have done that, but health was more important than wealth or ego or rank for her. So she prioritized health, and health has to always take the priority for all of us, be it individual health, family health, long term health. So that's why only when sports or any workplace is not becoming health supportive, the one who are the least supported only first protest that, say no to that, are ready to walk out of a condition where health support is not possible for them to maintain. I hope this made sense, and anyone has questions, comments, wants to connect or collaborate with me on any of these topics, please reach out to me. It's my information is present in the description section of my YouTube page. Thank you very much, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Have a great day.